Welcome to this week's edition of the Rock and Roll Ghost podcast. This week we are happy to have Holly Minto of UK band Crawlers on. Crawlers is on a national tour right now, opening for Jane's Addiction and Love and Rockets. They're appearing there with them on the 24th at the Aragon in Chicago, and the 23rd they're headlining their own show at the Beat Kitchen. So if you're more a Crawlers fan, check them out at the Beat Kitchen. Because I think the Chicago show with Jane's and Love and Rockets already sold out, right?
Yeah, it did. I mean, we got joined on this tour like very last minute because Harry's known about us for a while and our team and stuff, and really like loved our music. And he was like, "You want to open in slot?" I was like, "Yeah, I've got nothing else to do." But a lot of already at that point, like a lot of the dates were sold out, so it feels an honor to be joining such an iconic lineup, really.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool slot to be in, actually.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I'm with people who have such a legacy, and it's a very scary legacy to live up to by opening for them for sure.
Yeah. Now these are bands that I grew up with. So what I just out of curiosity, what is your take on I guess that era of music and does it define Crawlers in any way?
100%. So, I think like if it wasn't for like Jane's Addiction, I don't think grunge would have had such a momentous movement, and we definitely wouldn't be what we are without grunge music and that kind of amazing rock scene that kind of was seeded from punk music, especially in the West Coast in America. And I feel like it was one thing that kind of attached us as a band, like loving grunge and loving the fact that there was a poetic way to be angry, but still, you know, causing emotions with guitars and noise. And that's something that we've always kind of really related to. And Love and Rockets, my dad is like the biggest Daniel Ash fan ever. You'll see a picture of him and be like, yeah, that makes sense. And like my dad like texts me going, you don't understand how much like how cool this is. He sent me like all his side projects he saw like in Eric's Liverpool back in the day, like and all that. And he's like, no, this is an iconic tour. We used to have a picture of him in our house. I was like, oh shit, yeah, I didn't even realize.
That's
Um,
awesome. That's awesome. So
yeah,
you're I mean maybe being a rock star isn't like the thing every or a musician isn't there the thing every parent wants, but when you have something like that happen, it's got to be pretty cool.
no, my dad, yeah, well, I wouldn't be as much of a misfit without him for sure. And I think for him, it's a very iconic lineup that he goes, oh, yeah, my child's on this tour with someone I used to have a poster of in my bedroom. It's pretty cool, I have to
Well,
say.
that is awesome. That is awesome. In correct me if I'm wrong, this is your first time through the States?
So we've been a few times before, but this is our first time kind of doing everything. So we did
Yeah.
a big US tour when we kind of first signed over here in 22,
Okay.
which was hilarious. We did it in a Chevy Suburban, the whole tour. It was funny as hell. Then we came back and did Lollapalooza, which is kind of where we met Perry and stuff,
Hmm.
which was really great. And then, yeah, got us to, we did like a few odd dates, South by, all the kind of like industry American stuff. And then kind of got invited. So this is the first time we're kind of doing it full on. And I mean, like, a full on tour, which is like really exciting. Like I love being out here. I find it so inspiring, especially like we're in New York right now, and I literally every day I'm like, I think because I'm from like a little suburban shithole in
Yeah.
England, which love my life, wouldn't be here without it. But it is so I feel like a little baby experiencing the world for the first time every time I step out in America. Like and that includes like that's not just the bougie shit either. Like that's me like going and being like, oh my God, they do Gatorade and pickle fries here. I'm like that for me, that's like insane. So
Yeah, I mean I've never been actually to New York, so I know it's got to be overpowering, but I mean London is got to be its own thing, right? I mean,
well, it's weird because I right. So obviously, from where we are as a band, before we got signed and everything kind of started to like kind of have a career and have it as a full-time job, I'd never even really been to London. Like
okay.
we're all we're from the Northwest, and I'd only been on like one school trip, um, and once with my family for a holiday. It was very like bougie, and I was like, oh, but then it became business. Now I go all the fucking time, and now I'm basically a local in the London scene, and it's weird because New York is smaller than London, but New York's a lot taller than
Hmm.
London, which is fun. I also think New York is what it is. I love it so much. Like I think people are just who they are here, and I fucking love that so much. And um, I love London, but obviously it's for me because I always end up just going for work. And I'm like, no, this place is so beautiful and filled with amazing culture. But every time it's like, get on the train, go for a meeting, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. So, what are the differences between touring now and in 2022? Are you in something else besides a van this time?
we're still in a van, but it's a lot more. Do you know what? I've got to give it to this tour. It's been fantastic. 'Cause it's like we get days off after every show. I'm not used to that. Normally, I'm raw dogging it like from the
Yeah.
start. So it's been really, really enjoyable. Like being able to really take in the sights and kind of feel inspired, which is so nice. I think as well, we are a lot less innocent and green. When we just started in 22, we'd never even toured before then. Like before that year, we'd done like odd shows. We played a lot of basement gigs in our city, and that was kind of it. Like we do a basement show like twice a week, but we'd never tour.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of hard launch, like straight in 22, did our first tour in the UK and then straight into the US. I'd never even been to America before, ever. So it was like hard launch. I'll never forget it. Like we flew into Atlanta, was the first day, and I went into a random burger restaurant because I was starving and jet lagged. And they go in and go, "What's up, slut?" I was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Is this what America is? Is this what is going on?" Turns out it was part of the like shop. Their like novelty is calling you a slut, which I did
Oh,
not know, but that was the first restaurant I walked into. I was like, "Oh my God, is America like that?" I'm so scared. I'm so scared right now.
yeah.
Which was hilarious. So I think it's kind of we look after ourselves a lot more now. I think you get kind of caught up in the romanticization of what touring is, whereas like you need to look after yourself, your body, your mental health, your well-being, your family, who are your touring crew and your band, and it becomes treating it like work, but still having that like leisure time and enjoying it because you're never going to be able to continue making art if you're not constantly inspired. And there's only so much inspiration you can get sat in a green room doing the same show. Whereas, like, I've really tried to go out, meet our fans, um, meet people, go to sit in coffee shops, lavish up whichever city I'm in, and really get involved in that culture, which in America, everywhere is so starkly different. I love it.
Yeah. What's been your favorite thing so far about coming through the States?
Oh God, there's so many. Well, I love eating good food out here. Like I think the vegan options in the city are always so good that I'm like, oh my God, I broke my veganism of 24 years, that vibe. I'm like, oh shit, this is so good. I'm definitely eating cow butt right now. Which is great. I also just love like we've actually had a lot of time off this tour to like be friends and be a band again. And like touring can get so intense that you are just sat in that green room space, but we've
Yeah.
really gone and had fun. We've been roller skating, we've been swimming, we've done so much like silly fun stuff. We went and saw the Killers in Las Vegas. We went and saw big drag shows in New York. And I'm like, I really just feel like I'm lapping up, I don't know, everything I love about traveling as well as doing the touring part because performance is obviously why I'm here and what I love so much. But being able to kind of give it that traveler energy as well, I've been having a great time.
Yeah. You're a big drag fan?
Oh, I love drag. I love drag. I was like, when lockdown happened, all I did was do drag makeup and watch RuPaul's Drag Race like every day. And then,
Yeah.
like, from then I just started like investing. We've got a very small local scene in Liverpool, but I just go to the gay bars. It's basically like watching like a clown when you were like six, but everyone's drunk. Like, that's a great vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of big fan of drag queens myself.
Me too.
um and so you did Lollapalooza. What year did you do that?
So that was 22.
Okay,
We
that
did it
makes
same
sense.
year. Yeah, same year as Dua Lipa, Green Day, and Metallica, I believe. It was
Okay.
really great.
Yeah. I remember, I mean, I haven't gone to a Lollapalooza here for I went to the first like 7 years and then uh somehow I never thought it would happen. I kind of aged out of of being that person. It was there's still I never thought I'd look at a lineup and not know, most of the acts, but I mean I got there
Right, I get it.
eventually.
I've started. I'm 24 years old and I've started buying seated tickets.
Yeah,
I am not going in the pit anymore. When I say I go in the pit, like so I grew up my dad's punk music and stuff like that. So
yeah,
my dad would always take us to this punk festival and I'd be in the pit. I'd be like 18 and like I'd not even be drinking. I'd just be raw dogging, like jumping around. Whereas now, I just want to sit down. I want to sit down with a little beverage, watch it, enjoy the show, do my little head nods, get up for a little dance, sit down if I want to. And then I had this realization. I was like, oh my God, I'm like well old. Like, why am I sitting down for shows now? Like, I used to be camping at Barrier. Like, one year, 1975 played, and I camped out all day, like to watch them. I was sat in a blanket. I brought a blanket and everything. And now I'm a seated bitch. But it is so nice being able to actually like watch a show and not be like, my legs are falling apart. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely understand, and because I used to cover Lollapalooza, and you know how big that whole area is in Chicago. You
So big.
To cover it properly, you'd have to go back and forth, and God, that's like 3 football fields. I think they estimated.
It was right. I've got a really funny story literally about that. So that year we partnered with Lola Styles, so they kind of like style artists and stuff, which
Mm.
was they were super duper sweet. I'd never been styled any before that, so I felt well bougie. And they gifted me a pair of Doc Martens. Why did my dumb ass think it would be okay to wear Doc Martens at what you said? It's like a football field. It's fucking massive. And I was there like walking around, bleeding. Got to the point
Yeah.
where I finally was on stage. I think we were on stage at like 1 and it was hot. And I went,
Oh
I
yeah.
can't wear these Doc Martens. Like 40-minute set. Absolutely no way. So I ended up going on stage barefoot. It was so hot, my feet were sizzling on the stage.
Yeah. No, that
It
I
was
know
bad.
that feeling when I've gone out to take out the trash and then been on the asphalt with my bare feet, and it's like, oh, that's
What the
hot.
hell? I was sizzling. I was like on stage trying to act cool, like sing while my I could literally hear on
Yeah.
my feet. I was like, oh, that's gross. Um, I think
But
I still have a blister from Lollapalooza, but
yeah, I was gonna
it's a
say
nice
that you
memory scarf.
didn't do your feet any service that day.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Have you done a lot of the festivals?
So out here, no, we did Lolla. Hopefully, going to do Lolla again soon. We kind of, I think UK's got a really big festival scene. Like there's this
Yeah.
constant kind of like we debuted Reading and Leeds main stage this year. Well, Leeds got cancelled um because of the fucking wind. Sums up England, but we did Reading, and that for us was so big because that was like
Hmm.
our festival growing up, like alternative and rock music and
Yeah.
all that type of. It always had a moment of Reading and Leeds, and I remember like when I worked like as a waitress and stuff, like I'd be begging to get time booked off to go and stuff like that. I never actually went, so to be able to go, yeah, I've been now and I've played the main stage, like not even like opened it, like we were at a full set, so that was really full circle. And we've done Glastonbury and like a lot of the amazing indie circuits that are around there. But I really this year want to break into playing festivals out here. Like that's something that really excites me, and seeing how many artists could really create a cultural moment from appearing at these festivals and accidentally creating mass hysteria. It's incredible. I think it's beautiful. And we were supposed to play Oshiaga the same year we were playing Lola, but turned out we couldn't let Harry in the border because he was Canadian. We didn't realize, which is hilarious and another story for itself. But because he lived in America when he was like 2,
Hmm.
he needed a residency card rather than his passport. So we ended up missing our flight and missing our set at Oshiaga, which
Uh,
was gutting. So hopefully we'll be back to revitalize that now
yeah,
that's all sorted.
those horrible visa and residency issues that screwed so many artists up.
And that's the thing, because Oshiaga and Lollapalooza are on the same weekend, and like they are literally flying straight from their South Chicago to Oshiega, and it's like, wow, that is because that's what we were doing, and we did make it. So I don't know how that's.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so how you're only what? How long are you into this tour now? A couple of weeks?
Yeah, so we're nearly halfway. Um, but we dropped off to do Reading and Leeds Fest, but now we're back. So
Yeah.
we're out here until 17th of October. So it's a big long tour. Never done a tour this long before, but I think it's feeling very sustainable, and I'm having a really good time, which is nice.
Yeah, I can imagine you're getting to see probably more of the country this time around than you
Yeah.
were the
I look
previous
at
time.
that.
Oh wow, you're right by the bridge.
Yeah, it's like it's great. Like last time I'm because we'd ended up doing like 4 shows on, and as a singer, like it kills you. Like you're constantly singing. It can be so detrimental to your vocal health. So
Yeah,
I end up just having to sit and chill and steam and look after myself. Whereas this tour, I've been able to have a drink. I've been able to like go to parties. I've been able to like watch all the sets and have fun, which I've kind of restricted myself normally from doing because I'm like, I've got to do a show tomorrow. So it's been really
mhm.
nice. Obviously, that is a luxury I am definitely not taking for granted right now because as soon as we get back to the UK, it's definitely going to be 3 shows on again. And I'm going to be like back to my vocal health journey.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I'm going to laugh it up. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, it's so amazing the difference in how artists go about things now than they used to, because it used to be that hardly anybody, like people didn't pay any real attention to their health, and they just kind of, they just kept going and they kept going, and
Oh, burning out. It'd be like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
oh my God, you can't do it. Have a line or have some fucking speed. And it's like nowadays, it's like, the riders are all health immunity drinks and
yeah,
I'm always like I can't have a drink. I want to keep a clear head. I think it's so different. I do think we're lucky that as a society like mental health has become um less taboo because I feel like what one thing for me touring, like if my physical health is shit, I mentally get in my head, so I'm like, oh, if I can't sing, I'm shit, and it becomes a big
yeah,
anxiety spiral. Whereas I think nowadays artists are so open about how hard touring is because I feel like people go, oh, you're performing on stage every night. That must be so fun. It's like I'm traveling 24/7. I'm mostly seeing a green room. Like there are cons to it, and it's always worth it to see the amazing fans on the front row smiling, and it's always worth it to feel that adrenaline and perform with my best friends. But it's really nice that we're kind of normalizing what it is, what it takes to be an artist, and those
yeah.
negative effects that have hurt artists, and are the reason some people have quit or some people have got into really negative headspaces.
Yeah, well, the thing I bring up the most is that when you look back at people, especially like in the '60s and '70s and into the '80s, they would sometimes make 2 records a year, at least 1 record a year. They tour, and then they'd get back in the studio. It was like a constant thing, and some people, dealt with it in some ways, and some didn't. Um, and it's such a different world now. And you're right. The mental health thing is so key because Lord knows how many people succumb to their mental illness or just the physical and mental demands of
We have lost,
yeah,
no, that's it, Brett. I think we've lost decades worth of incredible art due to the lack of help with mental illness and drug abuse and I feel like it was always a quick fix back then because it was like, well, you need to tour, we need to make money, and this is how it works. Like a lot more money was in records back then too, whereas like
mhm,
records and touring were like very hand in hand. Whereas now, you kind of split like, are you going to have a stream hit or are you going to be a really big touring band? And if you've got both, you're heading for the stars. But a lot of people like it really depends on where you feel like you're going to get your money from and your career support. Whereas back then, like records were everything. Like people would walk into record stores and be like, these guys are cool. I'll get this. And that coolness or that energy and would turn into a tool that could be detrimental. And people were too scared to speak about it, or it was so normalized to be like, dude, you're fucking tired. Just have a line of coke and go out there. And it's
right,
like, oh
right.
my God. It's so sad because, like I said, we've definitely lost decades worth of incredible art due to illness that wasn't treated back then because it was taboo and we were scared. And I'm very glad that society, we've got a long way to go, but the fact that I can be even have this conversation with you, be quite open about it is such a big step.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking personally, it's like my regular job, I just this year, my insurance had like a mental health option, and so I went back to therapy because of it. And but I hadn't had, I mean, I'm 53 years old. I wasn't until now that I had that option. It used to be cost ineffective to go see a therapist
Yeah.
because of how much it just costs, and it's nice that these things are starting to finally. I could have used this 20, 30 years ago, but you know,
I know.
but
I'm just glad that that's a thing now, though, and I'm glad you're
yeah,
kind of getting that, need because there must be so much like when you've gone that long without kind of having therapy or realizing what it is. You don't realize how many years of fucking baggage you're probably carrying. I hope you feel lighter from it.
No, and I most people that don't have any issues don't realize how hard it is just to kind of deal with them on a daily basis, how much of a toll that just takes on you. I mean, most of my life I found myself just kind of just exhausted just from my own head, to be
Exactly.
honest.
No, no, I completely understand. I'm the exact same. And it's like you're constantly in a conversation all the time because of your
Yeah,
brain. And the thing is, it's so taboo to kind of bring that into a conversation because, it was never even talked about at all. And I feel back then it was literally like, oh, you're insane. Boom, you're going to go to asylum or something like that. Whereas
yeah.
now it's like, oh, you're struggling. What can we do to help? And it's great that you finally feel that you can do that.
Yeah, no, it's come a long way. I mean, I think back to my grandparents' era that were in World War II, and it's like they hardly ever complained about anything because they grew up in the Depression. My grandfather had to drop out of school when he was 13 to take care of his family, his siblings and his mother. So it's like, yeah, people didn't have time to be upset, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know, uh, you mentioned something about touring and stream, with streaming. Do you think it's harder now for artists to break through even with all of social media? Do you
Yeah.
think? Like, do you have? I mean, you probably don't have the same support from a label or anything that you would have if you came out 30 years ago when Jane's and Love and Rockets were out.
So his it is a two-sided coin where one side of it is extremely positive and the other side of it is extremely negative. So now you can get reached without anything. You don't need a radio plugger, you don't need a manager, you don't need an agent. You can just start and utilize your tools that you're given on a phone. As long as you're privileged enough to have one of these, you can kind of achieve so much. You can write songs on it and then perform it to online, and that can blow up and become viral. And it can be a long to huge success, which is incredible. And as someone who's a working class kid from the northwest of England, it's like I would not be where I am right now without that because that's what I utilized.
Yeah,
However, it is to a detriment that major labels no longer understand how to develop an artist. They have become lazy. There's never this conversation because back then you could just have a record and you'd go, oh, here are the big radio pluggers. We're just going to play it. And as long as people are buying it after they've heard it on radio, you're a hit, right?
yeah,
That's it. It wasn't much complicated than that. Like if you were a part of a label, you were going to have an amazing record. Whereas nowadays, it is not, they can't forecast it anymore. They'll sign artists off hits like us, like so many. I have so many friends in the industry who got signed off a hit off TikTok, and as soon as they were done, they were like, "Well, you've already got the followers. Like, let's just do that again." And it's like that's not how developing works. You need to
hmm,
think about the artistic value of a creative. You need to think about the world building, the music they're creating, and you need to give them a step back just because they've had a hit once. Like, give it a second. It's the same. Like, you look at Queen. They did Killer Queen, and they were like, "Can you do that again? Please, can you do this again?" And they backfired and did Bohemian Rhapsody, and that was completely rejected for ages. And
yeah,
now look at it, it's probably
yeah,
one of the most iconic songs of all time. The same thing's happening now. Artists have these hits, and record labels are chasing for a viral hit without any substantialness, without any developed thoughts, and they just assume that the artist has got it. And it's like you're signing kids who have made hits by themselves and assume they know how to do that again.
all right,
There's so many artists right now, and it's like majors are spending money on these hits, farming the money from that hits, and then giving up on the artist because they're not getting it again. Whereas what I'm loving is there's some artists who've gone independent, been signed for ages, and are actually getting developed. You've got the rare cases, the Noah Kahns, the Chapel Roans, who are finally, you know, using that old school navigation of labels, but it's kind of destroyed now. Like looking at all
yeah,
my friends who have been in the major label circuit, like it's not how it used to be. So I think there's
yeah.
two sides. One, you can get amazing places from different areas. Like you don't need to know someone anymore. Like there's different ways of being able to get that connection. But also major labels become lazy. It's just like a loan now, and it's a loan with a lot of luck, which is not really how it should work.
No, I mean it used to be that somebody would see somebody. I think the A&R division of labels is pretty much uh changed dramatically, but they would
Yeah,
see
they want to get rid of
somebody.
A&Rs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and they would see somebody, they would get a feeling, maybe the labels would interfere a little too much, like use this producer, not this producer. This is the single, not the, but still there's always this great healthy, I think if you get the push and pull, like the push of the label and the and the push back against it by the artist, sometimes the combination makes something spectacular, or it often will. And then sometimes when you see that artist say, well, now I have all the artistic freedom, and they put out something that's kind of just wanky. It's like you know
I can name so many of those.
yeah, there's a certain band that I've proclaimed has been making 25 years of fart noises on a synthesizer, and everybody still thinks they're amazing, but I'm not going to name check them. uh
When it's over, you tell me.
okay. um but yeah, so I don't have much more time with you. What's kind of the stuff that you're into right now? What are you listening to?
I'm having such a great era of music right now. I've just been writing loads and kind of going into this new world, and I've got this amazing. I've decided that I'm not going to think music's cringe anymore. Like I went through this big thing where I was like, I need to be listening to stuff that's really autistic and really like, and it's like that doesn't inspire me sometimes. Like sometimes I'm inspired by just incredible sonics, And I've made this playlist that's just all songs that make me feel nostalgic for a time that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
None of the songs have anything in common. They're just songs with amazing soundscapes, and some of them are hers who were from our uni that I studied at, who've passed away now, but they're a lot of their stuff. Lord, been listening to a lot of Lord, been listening to a lot of Chapel Roan because I feel like sometimes I listen to sad music a lot, so it's so nice to hear something so fucking upbeat and good. I've been really, really getting back into Smashing Pumpkins and Pixies, where my heart kind of started wanting guitar music. Like, um,
Hmm.
they were, as soon as I heard 1979, I think I was like, I know what music I want to make. Like, I get it. Like that chorusy, reverby. Oh, I love it. It's so
Yeah.
luscious. And sometimes people can be saying nothing over music that sounds that beautiful, and it's incredible. Um, but then I've also been listening to a lot of kind of like alternative artists from the UK. I'm really, really loving Wonder Horse at the minute. I think lyrically he is a genius, and I love a poet so much before they're a singer, and he's definitely that. It's very inspiring. And this other band from all the people who are like, guitar music's dead. And I'm like, no, you're just not listening to the right stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, a lot of stuff for sure.
All right. What is the band's plans once this tour wraps up?
What about you? What are you listening to? Obviously, apart from Crawlers. That was
I don't know. I listen to kind of everything, although I'll admit there's kind of
so
gaps.
well with debut album now, and I feel
Sorry.
sorry, I'm definitely lagging. I'm definitely lagging. You carry on. Tell me what you're listening to.
Oh, no, I mean, nothing, not a whole lot new. I mean, probably the newest thing I listened to was the Taylor Swift album that came out last year, which would surprise, I think, a lot of people that I listened to that. But I actually have become, I guess, a Swiftie. Hello.
It's really good. I've become a Swiftie this year. That's something that's really happened. Well, like, for I sat down and listened to it. I was like, am I hello? You got me?
Yeah, there seems to be some weird connection going on, issue.
That is okay. Let me give me 1 second. Let me just see if I can
Sure.
get this Wi-Fi. that better?
Yeah, you were frozen for some reason.
Oh no. Can you hear me now?
I could hear you. Yeah. How about I'll probably cut out the part where now we're better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened.
Don't
All
worry.
right. Well, my time's almost up. I do want to thank you very much, and I'll make less of a problem what just happened
No,
when
no,
I
don't worry.
posted. But Crawlers are now on tour again. They're playing opening for Jane's Addiction, Love and Rockets on their tour, and you're going to be making stops in different places, doing your own solo shows as well. Correct?
That's it. Yeah, we're
All right.
playing Chicago, Columbus, and somewhere else that I've forgotten. But yeah, catch us at those dates. Catch us at James, the
Yeah.
Rockets. It's very grateful to be on such an
Yeah.
amazing tour.
If Jane's and Love and Rockets come to your town, look for the smaller places for or check Crawlers' website, which will be posted with this interview. Holly, thank you very much for taking the time today. I wish you guys the best of luck.
Thanks, Brett. Thank you. This interview's been so much fun. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
You too. All right, thanks.
Bye.
All right, bye.